How's it going, guys? It's the Pretty Boy Offense. My name's Saj, and we are doing the Week 10 cheat sheet, the 3 games I love this week for Survivor, and the 3 games that I hate for Survivor. This one's a pretty, easy to read week, I think. There's a lot of really favorable matchups, and I think this is going to be one of the weeks where just take like a super favorite team against like a low team. These are why you save up those really nice teams like the Cardinals or like the Rams or something like that. Because when you get these games here where you're trying to decipher between like a tough Broncos matchup or like a Browns Patriots matchup that could go either way, like you don't want to be caught on the receiving end of one of those, just of the bad end of one of those. Just take the good team. This is why you save them up. So I did a full week preview already, but just going to keep this one nice and short. So I'll start with the 3 games I hate. Speaking of the Browns Patriots, that's my first like game that I hate. I kind of talked about in the preview Baker Mayfield versus Bill Belichick. I think Baker Mayfield's a good quarterback. I think he's playing well. I think week by week the scheme kind of limits him a bit in terms of what we see out of him. And then you had the whole Odell Beckham drama and everything like that. But now that that's kind of like in the past, he can play the way he wants, hand the ball off as much as he needs to, make the throws that he wants without worrying about like making people happy. That's a great thing. But he's going against a Patriots team that's a really good defense, and Bill Belichick is known to confuse I don't want to say like immature quarterbacks, but quarterbacks that like aren't as disciplined in terms of like their coverage understandings and how well they can make every throw. And Baker Mayfield, outside of a few big throws, hasn't really been the perfect thrower of the ball this year. So I could just see this being a defensive stand for the Patriots. And then on the other side of that too, you have Mac Jones, who is a very safe quarterback, very similar to kind of what people expected out of Baker Mayfield when he wasn't producing too much, but it's just 2 very similar teams, 2 teams that like to run the ball. And when you have 2 stout defenses that are as healthy as they are right now going against each other, this game will be determined by like 1 or 2 turnovers, I think. Both these defenses are capable of that. And I just think they're a lot closer than maybe their roster construction really shows, but scheme-wise, performance-wise, they're very similar teams. And I think this game's more of a coin flip than it is an actual, runaway win by the Browns. So that's a game that I hate. And next game that I hate is Vikings versus Chargers. So there's a lot of really interesting stuff going on with this game. There's all the off-field stuff with the Vikings with Dalvin Cook, but it looks like he's going to play. It looks like he'll be all right to play mentally as well after dealing with all that. And then we also have some COVID issues with the Vikings where a lot of players are in intensive checkups right now, trying to figure out if there is like an outbreak on the team and everything. The reason this is like a hard game to go against, you'd think a team that has all this stuff going against it in the Vikings would not be like a hard fight for a Chargers team that is relatively healthy, is relatively complete right now, and can take advantage of all the bad things that the Vikings are doing. But if Dalvin Cook is healthy and you have the offensive coordinator already saying that they're going to give Cook more touches, that's exactly why this was like a hate game from last week, because the Eagles were so good at running and could take advantage of a bad run defense that the Chargers have. Dalvin Cook's just as good, and he can take advantage of a bad run defense by the Chargers. And then until Herbert really shows that he's going to start going back downfield more with Mike Williams and all of his weapons there, he's going to be stuck in like a really close fight like they were with the Eagles last week. So it was just mirrored last week a lot, and that game could have gone either way. This one could just as easily go the other way with the Vikings winning, even though I think the Chargers are a better team. In the last game, Falcons Cowboys. I really ragged on the Cowboys last week for their loss, but I pinned it up to the Terrence Steele fill in on the offensive line right now. He's an absolute liability. It really throws Dak off when he's playing with them. And the Falcons, Matt Ryan's kind of caught a bit of a hot streak right now, so this could be a firefight. This could be a fun game to watch, but it'd be really terrible if you chose the Cowboys for Survivor, even though they are a better team, they are the better defense, I think. But just with that one weakness on that offensive line, it's shown to have such an impact on this team. And it's a meaningful impact. It's something that this whole team's predicated on, is a strong offensive line. And when there's one weak point, it just sinks the ship. So I'll stay away from the Cowboys until they've become fully healthy and get back to being the juggernauts that we've seen that they are. All right, so now we're going to go on to games that I love. And some of these games are going to be super obvious, but I'll try and like make them make sense as to why it's okay to pick them this week. So Rams over 49ers. They're just the healthier team. They're probably one of the best teams in the league right now, especially in the NFC. They'll be able to take advantage of a 49ers team that is just so lackluster, can't figure out its quarterback situation, can't figure out their cornerbacks right now. And yeah, they're just so many issues right now. I know there's question marks around Shanahan. I think it's all getting blown out of proportion a bit, but until the 49ers show that they can at least compete with like mediocre teams, you can't expect them to do anything against a top team like the Rams. So Rams over 49ers, absolutely love it. The Rams can't really afford to lose any more ground on other NFC teams right now. It's going to be a tight race for that number 1 seed when it comes to playoffs. So they need to win these games. I think they will. Colts versus Jags. The Jags did a great thing last week, beating the Bills. That's not going to work against the Colts. I think I talked about the whole Carson Wentz hesitancy with the Josh Allen, like who could be bad Josh Allen, what would be bad Carson Wentz. But with the Colts having a fully healthy O-line right now, they're a different team than they were at the beginning of the season when we saw some of those miscues from Carson Wentz. And then also, we were really hesitant on the Colts because we were waiting for them to show that they were good. The last 2 weeks, they've been good. There's a reason why they've been good. It wasn't just like magic. It was because of this O-line. Everything improved. Michael Pittman's emerging as a great receiver. Jonathan Taylor's a great running back when he has the holes on that offensive line. And we were saving the Colts for these games, for the Houston games, for the Jags games and stuff like that. So why not use the Colts against the Jags? I know it's going to be like the sucker pick. Like that's where a lot of your Survivor League is going to go. So if this goes bad, it really thins the herd a lot. But I really like this pick. I think Colts Jags is the way to go this week. And then for the last one that I love, I really want to do Cardinals versus Panthers, but just being a Cardinals fan, I know that there's some like bad blood between these two franchises, and no matter how good these teams are doing, no matter how well quarterbacks are playing and stuff, there always seems to be a way that the Panthers just beat the Cardinals. They did it with Cam Newton, they did it with Teddy Bridgewater, they were doing it against Carson Palmer, they were doing it against Ryan Lindley, they're doing it against Drew Stanton. The Panthers always seem to beat the Cardinals, so I'd stay away from that one. That's just like some bad reputation that maybe I'm just looking in way too much. But I think the real game for my last love is Bucks versus Washington. So take the Bucks. They're coming off a bye week. I know they're a bit beat up, but it's still going to be enough to beat Washington. And like I said, let's not overthink it. That's why we save these good teams for these weeks like this where there's a lot of really close games. Yeah, just live to fight another week and then make those tougher decisions down the line if we have to. But yeah, Bucks Washington, love that pick. So good luck with your picks this weekend, guys. I think it's going to be a really interesting week of football. Really looking forward to this Falcons-Cowboys games. Just really didn't want to, make any Survivor picks regarding it. So have a good one.